Hey, how you doing? So today we'll talk about how Lucas Brar jazzifies a song or turns a popular song into the style of jazz. Let's take a look. Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. And baby, your smile could still fall as hard at 23. And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe it's all part of a plan. Only I fall in love with you every single day, hoping that you'll understand. Honey, now kiss me on the love. Da, 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 da. That was Lucas Brar's arrangement of Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud. And he turns this pop song into jazz by using three techniques. And the first is using the harmony that is commonly used in jazz, so chord progressions that are used in jazz. Second, he uses the feeling, the rhythm of jazz, which is a syncopated kind of triplety rhythm, which is we call the swing rhythm, and that's what gives the feeling that jazz has. And then thirdly, he'll arrange the song in a way that a jazz ensemble might play it within the guitar. Yeah, so let's take a look how those three things allow Lucas Brar to create this style of jazz. All right, so let's talk about the chords. He starts with this chord, C6, goes to A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, E minor 7, E flat 7, D minor 7, G7. But he keeps the melody the same. But how does the melody work so well over this chord progression as opposed to the original chord progression, which is C, C over E, F, and G? Why do the melody work so well over those two chord progressions? The answer is that, okay, first of all, you need to know that this song is in C. So in a certain key, major or minor, there are chords that naturally occur within the key, and all of those chords, basically what they're saying is, hey, I'm related to this main key. That's basically what all of those chords are saying. And in the key of C, C is the one chord, the home chord. And then F, 4 chord, 5 chord. Basically what all of these chords are saying is, hey, I'm related to the key of C. And same can be said of this chord progression. So here's the 1 chord, C, 6 chord, A minor, 2 chord, D minor, G, 5 chord, E minor, 3 chord technically, but I see it as the 2 of 2, 5 of 2, I'm sorry, 5 of 2, but tritone sub, E flat 7, 2, 5, 1. So the number system can be confusing if you're not familiar with theory. But please leave a question and I will answer them. Much like the original chord progression, the new chord progression that Lucas Brar uses also all are very closely related to the key of C, and this is why the melody works so well. Now, what is this chord progression called? It's a 1-6-2-5. If you've heard any theory video about jazz, you've heard the words 2-5, 2-5-1. That's a very, very common cadence in jazz. So you'll see it used here as well. 6 2 1 6 2 5 1. But here instead of going to 1, you go to the 3 and then turn around, tritone turn around to D minor. So this E flat 7 chord is actually notes that are outside of the key, which is what jazz musicians love to do. Jazz music loves to take notes that are outside of the original key and then sneak them in there. What a tritone substitution is, this would have been an E minor to an A7 to a D minor, which would have been a 2-5-1 to D minor, or the 2 chord. But to substitute the A7, they use the E flat 7. And the reason why this works is the shell tones, or the thirds and the sevenths of A7 and E flat 7 are exactly the same. But anyway, ask me about this if you have questions. Anyway, so that's a substitution right there, and then it goes to the 2, and then it goes to the 5. And the second part of this goes 1 6 G minor C7 F. So this is a 2-5-1 to F, to the 4 chord, or to the F, key of F, and then B flat 7, which is a passing chord, to A minor. A minor is a 6, so this is a modulation to A minor. It goes A minor major 7, A minor 7, D7 with a A in the bass, or an A minor 6. This arpeggio. B minor 7 with a flat 5, E7, which is a turnaround to A minor, and then the whole chord progression happens again. And then it goes to D minor, G7, which is the 2-5, again, filled with 2 5s. 2 5 1 to the C. Now, why does Lucas Brar use so many 2-5-1s? It's simple. Jazz music is made up almost entirely. A lot of jazz standards are made up maybe like 60 to 80% out of these 2-5-1s. So that's the reason. Now, the second way Lucas Brar jazzifies songs is the rhythm. And we call this the swing rhythm. And the easiest way that I can define it is how it's been defined to me. And it's, think about triplets. So think about a beat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5. And then count out triplets. And then within those triplets, you tie the first 2 triplets together in every single triplet. So it'll sound like this. So those will substitute 8 notes. So usually in a straight song, 8 notes will sound like this. But if you use this swing rhythm, which is like triplets, but with the first 2 triplets tied, the 8 notes swung. Now these 8 notes we call swung 8th notes. They'll sound like this. So triple H. And they sound, what I was saying earlier, they sound like triplets with the 2 first triplets tied together. So that's basically the swing rhythm. A straight feel will be like this. A swing rhythm will sound like this. And so on. You'll notice that it sounds more dancey, more syncopated, and this is what gives the song its feeling. Now, thirdly, the most important part, arranging the music into an ensemble form, or make it sound like an ensemble is playing it. So in a jazz ensemble, you will always have a walking bass. Not always, but typically you'll have a bass. And it'll be playing quarter notes like this. This is called a walking bass. And Lucas Brar does this in every jazzification song that he does. You hear that bass sounding boom, 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 boom. And then he'll add chords on top of it. So mimic maybe like a piano or guitar, any harmonic instrument. Playing along with this bass player. And then the third thing that he does, on top of that, he adds licks. So, this one. Or, ba ba ba. And by doing that, he'll incorporate the swing rhythm that we already talked about, the chords, and emulating a piano, a bass, and maybe a horn who would play this line, right? So that's how he creates this ensemble sound. Now, how do you get this? You must work on each component. This kind of playing, incorporating a walking bass, chords, and licks, is a completely different skill in of itself, and you must practice each of these little components separately. So let's look at the walking bass. What is he doing? Starting with a C6, C chord, it goes to A minor, it goes to D minor, it goes to G. He's taking the roots of each chord, C, A, D, G, and then he's voice leading them by approaching them approaching them chromatically, whether from below or from above. So here he'll play the root C of the C6 chord, and then he'll approach the A fret below chromatically, play the A, and then he'll approach the D chromatically from above, E flat, D, and then he'll approach the G chromatically from above as well. So you have and then he'll approach the C from below. That's mostly what he's doing. This is not the only way that you can walk a bass, but this is how Lucas Brar does it in this arrangement, and so on. And then he adds the chords in. So basically, the skill is to be versatile enough to keep this bass line going, and then on top of that, play the chords. A lot of the times he's playing the chords on the offbeats. Now, let's talk about the licks. His licks in this arrangement at least, are all in triplets, and we earlier talked about how triplets are very important to the swing rhythm, and lo and behold, he uses triple lines. So he'll go A minor, major 7, A minor 7, D7, and then here he'll do a D9 arpeggio, C, A, F sharp, F sharp, E, C, and these are all notes in the D9 arpeggio. This one is the 7th, this one is the 5th, this one is the 3rd, this one is the 9th, and then we have the 7th again. So these are all notes in this chord, D9, and he'll do this over and over again. And in this case, he'll go to this E minor, and then the next chord is E flat 7. He uses the E flat's dominant 7 arpeggio. Those are all notes in this chord. and then next chord is D minor, so he'll go to the third of the D minor, third, 1/3, 5, 7, third of G7. So here he's not doing anything rocket sciencey. He's outlining the chords that are already supposed to be there in arpeggios, and they're all in triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. And so on. Now, okay, at this point you may be confused. I went over a lot of material, and it's harmonically fairly advanced and theoretically fairly advanced. So if you're confused, that is normal. So please leave questions in the comments, and I'll make videos in depth about your questions, because the way Lucas Brar Jazzifies songs has a lot of different components, and they take experience, they take a lot of study to learn. So I can make a whole video on each of the aspects, each little aspect of the techniques that he uses. So if you're confused, completely understandable, but please ask me questions and I'll make more videos. Thank you for watching.